Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing safe. Thank you so much for love and support as always. In today's topic, I am going to talk about the fundamental question for most of them. Where can I find great product managers? Let's discuss. Let's understand probably the single most common question where we can maybe heard or seen from various companies, from the senior management, where can I find great product managers? See, understand one thing, great product managers, what are you are looking out for, you are already having them in your organization. Maybe they are hiding under a different title. It may be your software engineer, or it could be a senior manager or user experience manager or system engineer, just waiting to be discovered, isn't it? But whether you recruit product managers from inside or outside, the easiest way for me to share my thoughts around this, to spot them, is to have a clear understanding of what is the sort of traits or characteristics that you're looking for. So let me help you with my thought process. What is the different qualities that you can look out for, so that you understand how do we find a great product managers. It's all about product passion. Understand one thing, there are some people out there, they just love the products. But if you look at any great product managers, they have a love and respect for good products, no matter where they come from or where they live to create them, isn't it? So the passion for a product, for me, fundamentally, it's all about your motivation to get through. How efficiently you handle the challenges, and how did you spend a lot of longer hours to make that product more robust. That's all define a great product. So you as a product manager has to inspire the rest of the product team, so that the passion for the product is always remains there. Understand, if you want to talk to any of your product team members or a person, by just simply asking what are some of your favorite products and why, and ask them to explain their opinion, or the feedback has to be very through, loud and clear. Asks for some of the examples of different domains. Ask how do you as a product manager can improve your favorite products, if you wanted to get it more corrective ways. And ask what is your bad products. All these questions will help you to understand whether the product manager will be having a passion or not. The second, customer empathy. For me, any product manager, I don't think they necessarily should come from your target markets, but they need to really understand how do they empathize within your target market. It's very difficult to find this kind of the quality or a trait from any of the product managers candidate, right? So I think you tend to think of any of your users as ourselves or our friends, but the target market, what we are talking about, has different dimensions. It can be values, or it can be different priorities. It has its own experiences, maybe a lot of technical understandings, all those things, right? So as a candidates, they should talk about a target market and how do they believe that it is different from others, and understand how do they feel about how important for them to understand what is this target market all about, and how he can see and visualize, if we keep him into that product manager role, how do he or she can bring a value to the table, right? So this is how you understand the quality of how he or she has an empathy for a customer, right? So some of the differences, maybe you can think like, does this candidate that you're talking is having enough understanding about the target market to know which is which, right? So that's very important to define any of the products end-to-end understanding, and different cultures, different similarities, all those things. So customer empathy is very important. So I think you should understand and look for out, when you have a discussion with him, to get his opinions and his deep thoughts around this. Intelligence. See, understand, product management is all about your insights and judgment. And to do this, you need to have a sharp mind. I'm sure hard work is anyway required, but for doing this kind of job, it's not sufficient. I think you need to hire a very smart people. Is very very harder than it sounds. I know that, but because you're talking about hiring a product manager, you need to have a very very smart people who has to understand, speak the company culture, which is a very very important topics, right? So I think they should be very perfect fit for your role. I think you should ask, how does that candidate work out on any problems, and what is their thought process, how did they come up with a solution. And I think this is how you should have a dialogue with them to understand what is their potential all about, right? So this has to be done continuously to understand when you reach a situation, how that candidate is able to explain his thoughts on the scenario, how he is going to visualize his solution towards outcome of that problem, and what is the different alternative options that he can think about it, right? So it's all about capabilities, right? So that's very very, I know it's intense, but it's very needed, right? So otherwise you can pick up one or two people who are very good at intellectual process which is there out in your organization, and ask them to interview this person, so that you understand and determine how this candidate problem solving abilities. Yeah, so you can do this way, and intelligence is very very important. Ethics. Yes, I'm talking about work ethics. Understand, not every role in the product team they require the same level of commitment and efforts, isn't it? But if you are a product manager role, it's not for someone who is kind of an afraid of any hard work. It has to come with a lot of responsibility, and you as a product manager ultimately accountable for success of that product. And definitely, yes, this burden always weights you heavily, because you wanted to become a successful product manager, isn't it? So you have a lot of skills like time management, or you might be knowing some of the techniques of the product management well before, with your previous experience you might be mastered in that. But it's all understand how you can understand the work life balance to become a product manager which more successful, right? I think you can do it, but at least you need to understand how much you can balance yourself to sort out all your personal and professional problems, to make sure you always follow the work ethics, right? So that is one aspect. And always keep in mind, your level of effort and commitment has to be always adhere to the project, right? So that's very very important. And there might be some times where you need to work really intense because of the product and other delivery deadlines, right? So understand what is the degree of the level of commitment that you can come up with, and show the responsibility to the company, so that you can really put your efforts to build a great products. So yes, so the work ethics is very very important for a product managers. Integrity. Let's say you have a product team, and as a product manager you wanted to reflect certain values of your company vision and the product, and you wanted to cascade this to all your product team. But what happened, most of the companies, the product manager doesn't directly manage the people on the project team. As such, he cannot simply direct people to do this kind of a bidding process. Rather, he will has to come up with something like influencing whoever people on his team, right? So I think it's with your trust and respect within your team, through which how you can manage and maintain your integrity as a product manager. So trust and respect, you have to build it over time. because you wanted to make yourself as a successful product manager, I think you need to have a proper these two, trust and respect, has to be strongly built. Because if the product manager is not having to have this integrity or honesty to deal with your team or teammates, I think you as a product manager shouldn't have any kind of quality of managing collaboration and effectiveness, all those things to get the job done, right? So it's very important. If you lack this kind of quality or a trait, it's very difficult, because as a product manager you shouldn't be expert in every role of your product team, but you need to have a deep understanding and respect of each team member is responsible for, so that they're willing to do trust to you, and they can do more towards their job, right? So this is very important, and I think you should also consider integrity is very important for identifying a great product managers. Confidence, yes, that's anyway by default you should have it, right? So many people think of confidence as a result of experience, but I don't think so, because every experience will help you to build confidence. But if you observe carefully, maybe you're an experienced product managers, but you still don't have a project confidence. But at the same time, you can sometimes find either interns or trainees or fresh graduates, they have too much of confidence, right? So I think it's very important. It will help you, at least your entire product team and your other stakeholders, whoever is part of your the complete product. I think they are looking for product managers, so that you can convince them and you can invest the time and money in terms of yourself to align towards your vision, which has been set by your company, right? So it's very crucial ingredient, I would say, because people are more likely to follow a leader who has this confidence rather than who doesn't have, right? So I think you might find a lot of leaders within your teams, within your company, who has this quality of confidence. So it's very important for a product manager as well. Attitude, how do we measure this? Because okay, let me keep it in this way. If you wanted to be a successful product manager, you have to see yourself as a CEO of the product, isn't it? Because you have to take a full responsibility for the product and doesn't make any excuses. Because if you're a successful product manager, you're ultimately responsible for the success of the product, isn't it? But and there are sometimes you need to come up with valid reasons for the product not to ship or not to fail within the market, if you wanted to really building up, right? So sometimes it might take longer time to get that product delivered to the specific market. Sometimes it will cost too much, sometimes it will be too complicated. But as a person, you need to know all these things and see how each of these challenges has to be overcome. It all comes with your attitude. It doesn't mean that you have to do a micromanagement of all your product team and showing yourself as a boss to all these people, right? So don't blame anyone in terms of if something goes wrong, and at the same time you have to give a quick give credit to all your rest of team if something gets well, right? So the successful product manager has to be know thoroughly the rest of the team, and whether they really understand, align themselves to the product vision. I think you have to make that thing right, and attitude really matters as a lot. Communication skills are very I think it's a basic skill. That's how you can tell a story to your stakeholders in terms of how this product has to be molded, right? So it has to be learned always. It will take some time to become an effective speaker or a writer, right? Because it's a skill for everyone to understand how these good communication skills will be very important, right? So if you're talking about product managers, they spend a lot of time in terms of writing emails or writing a business specification documents or white papers, or a lot of internal documentations. And if you're a successful product manager, it takes a time to write these documents. If you believe that there are people who can read these are documents, right? So that is one thing. And the other kind of a communication where you can think about is a kind of a presentations, right? Because a presentation in front of a group of people or a large group is very hard for many of the people, because presenting effectively is even very hard. But it's a very, very important skill. As a product manager, you need to really focus and see how you can showcase in front of all the team out there, and share your thought process around what has been prepared and presented, right? So that's very, very important. And the other in terms of is how better you are engaging in terms of having a knowledge and passion for the product. I think you need to be very, very clear when you're explaining the point and in terms of what you're saying. So don't confuse yourself and be very specific. If you're talking anything about the product vision or product process throughout the journey of the products, so it's all about telling a story of how you wanted to build a great products. So communication is by default, I think by definition, it's very, very important. You have to have a communicate to connect with more people. Just to conclude my final thoughts around this, you may be thinking that such people are very, very, extremely rare because of the kind of the quality or the kind of a traits that I just explained in my, just a while ago, right? And they are rare, about as rare as good products. But you have to got to have hiring people very, very crucial for you as a product managers to be bringing out into your organization. I think you need to really worthwhile to interview looking for these characteristics, and you set the bar very high. That's how you can bring the lot of good talent onto your organization. That is one thing. And you need to always understand what is the approach you as a interview or a senior people looking for candidates as a product managers. You need to also understand their thought process and how they can be part of your complete journey to build great products, and have a candid discussion, and keep their experience, make them much more interactive, and discuss about different scenarios, different use cases. I think that's how you can understand, and you can find the great product managers out of them. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.